Hi there, friends. Welcome to the morning madhouse at Sweetwater Ranch. Hey, just want to give you a little channel update this morning and share with you a bit about what's going on over here, what's going on with the channel. I am going to try and make better videos. I want to make that pledge that I know that I have a lot of important and valuable information that I have acquired over the years, and particularly in these last 5-6 years of intensive studies. And I know it, like I say, it's very valuable, but I know it's a whole nother mission to learn how to articulate and to share those things in a valuable way. And I don't want to shoot myself in the foot or negate the value of the information by speaking in ways that are just a total turnoff. I want to learn how to articulate better, to share messages that are truly 100% coming from the heart. So I pledge to you all that keep watching these videos, and I will try to do better. Shh. It is crazy house right at the moment. Just got up and the cats are ready to party because it's a snow day out there and they were inside all day yesterday. We'll have to get them out on a walk today, I suppose. So here before me, we have one of the most fabulous books ever written. I just got this last week, Mae Wan Ho's last book, and the one underneath it's pretty good too. Francis Vaughan. I'm not really familiar with Roger Walsh, but I'm sure you're mostly all familiar with the book, A Course in Miracles. I have not studied the work, but this collection of excerpts is excellent, and I do recommend it. Maybe I'll pick it up in a minute and read a passage out of it. But this other book that we have here is just phenomenal, and I'm going to read a small passage from it this morning. But I'm also going to tell you that it's one of the things that I have coming up on the channel is that we're going to do some readings of some of these essays from this book as well as a couple other books. And what I have planned for that is to go out into nature, probably down to the Rio Grande, so that we can align the camera towards the river. Maybe we'll get to see some otters and some blue herons and ducks flying by and other fun stuff like that. And hopefully that will be enjoyable for the viewers instead of just sitting here in the Earthship. Okay, so that's a big thing that I have planned. And I have a few other discussions planned that I want to share. Again, I'm trying to exercise my own patience and not hastily make these talks, because I want them to be presented in a way that is well received. The big talk coming up is about the two fundamental forces of the universe, which are yin and yang, which are, there's many ways to describe it. But to me, these two fundamental forces make up two opposing energies. Okay, and then on from that, I really like 5-element theory instead of 4 elements. There was some real validity to that, and there still is. The reason why the Chinese and the Eastern thought encompassed 5 elements, but preceding that, this fundamental nature of two opposing forces. And of course I studied much of Schauberger's work, who was very much into the implosive energy as being the fundamental force that really, that's where it's at. And also if we study a bit about energy and attractor fields, Rupert Sheldrake had a nice thing he said at the end of one of his talks with McGilchrist about how he has a little jar of magnets that he likes to keep. And what happens if we have a handful of jar of magnets and we shake them up, shake it up. Do they all scatter or do they all come together? Of course we know. Brain, you let me get you, buddy. We know that the magnets will come together. They don't end up scattering apart, and that is because that force of pulling together, the attractive force, is stronger than the repellent force, which is to me a wonderful metaphor for how the feminine energy is more powerful, and it is, in a way, it's what determines the future. What determines the future. Oswald Spengler said that men create the future, women are the future. And to me that speaks to this nature of the true power of the feminine energy, which that's the way that I will, when we do make this talk about it, I'm going to be relating these two very large forces of the universe back to our own masculine and feminine energy. And I want to take my time, and I'm thinking about whether to start scripting the talks, to type them out on the computer. And I like doing unscripted talks that are just coming directly from the heart, but also, I don't want to fumble around with the words and again negate the value of the material. So I'm thinking about whether to start writing this stuff down or just to try and do it at the right time. All right, so that's one talk we have coming up. I will certainly do more talks about the Earth ships and passive solar homes, and there's plenty of knowledge in here about how to actually carry these procedures out of building off-grid, building sustainably, and living off-grid. I have 25, 30 years now of experience living off the grid and outside the box, and with a very, very low footprint as well, which I encourage everyone to check out. And I will make some more talks and share about that. Also, I have quite a bit of knowledge around the holistic land management and how to use ruminant animals as herds to counter desertification. This is a big deal with what's going on in the world today. And my intention in that regard is not to get into the specifics of livestock management. There's other educators that are much more in tune and experienced in that regard. I want to talk about the larger elements behind it all, because as we can see, I think that's where one of the hurdles are, that we have these kind of camps dividing, and the division is what's painful. The division is what is the problem, not this idea or that idea. It's the division itself that is the wedge being driven into society and creating true problems. So I want to speak to those bigger elements about our relationship with the land and our relationship with animals in a holistic and heartfelt way. So thanks for tuning in to all these upcoming talks, friends. And if you do feel that any of the material that I have to share is valuable, then please help me share it. I'm just trying to get this channel up and off the ground. And I would like to get to the point where I just have at least what feels like a sustainable amount of viewership. And thank you very much for listening to what I have to say. Also, in regards to observer principle, Andrea, if you're watching, thanks. I love your videos. Wonderful, wonderful work that you're doing. I want to speak to that for just a second and say that there's different ways, and kind of fundamentally two different ways that we could view observer principle. And one is the passive, disconnected observer that kind of is part and parcel with Cartesian dualism. Hey, Bob. And that where I am most certainly not talking about that type of observer. I'm talking about the integrated participatory observer that is truly integrated with process. So yes, as we are investigating process philosophy or complexity thinking or holistic management, any of these elements of how do we integrate with living systems and make more accurate analyses, the role of the observer is, excuse me for a second. The role of the observer is one in this quantum physics sense, this Heisenbergian sense that the observer is effecting the observation. Okay, so that's one element of it that we want to take into account, is that all observations are effected, what's the better word? Maybe both, by the observer, but also that the act of observation itself is necessary. I myself am a big advocate for the term new biology and also new medicine. And there are, of course, if you're familiar with the term, there are kind of specific camps or individuals that use this word, new biology, these words. But I believe the way that I can sum it up is accurate and is all-encompassing, which is to say that new biology, it's a great term, and the reason for using it is to say that when we're looking at life itself, when we're studying life, it's new every time. There is no firm set protocols that will work every time. And of course, we want to build up our knowledge base around how systems work. And information that leads to productive knowledge is absolutely good. But the role of the observer is necessary because when we're dealing with life, living systems, whether organisms or superorganisms, it's a new situation every time. New biology, new medicine. So I'm very much an advocate for that. And again, that's kind of a big piece of the observer role, is that we need to know that we are accurately seeing what's going on with any given situation, and that that is brought into balance with the context of what we think we know about how these systems work. Okay, so observer principle. I made this talk, and again, I promise to try and make better talks about this stuff because I think it is important. But I made a talk a few months ago about Gestalt ecology, which I would also say we could maybe call it feminine ecology, and introducing this idea that ecology, the study of ecosystems, should be 50% about the observer. And again, what I'm saying is that this is most certainly not about saying, like in this old mechanistic paradigm that we've left behind, it's not saying, what are your credentials? Where did you get your PhD from? Like, what gives you the authority to say what's going on? It's most certainly not that interpretation of observer. It is, how can we effectively discuss what's going on? How can I help you see? How can you help me see? How can we better engage and integrate with the process that we are participatory within? So, most certainly, it's an integrated position of the observer that at the end of the day, if we can allow this into our thinking and encompass it as a valuable position, I believe that the only answer that will come out of it is education, that we want to educate each other and educate children, next generation, societies, not on set protocols, but on better ways to better understand how living systems work. I believe that education is 100% the answer, and ignorance is the only enemy. Okay, but I believe that wholeheartedly. So, yeah, that's mostly it. Just wanted to give you a little update this morning of what's going on with me. I have been doing a lot of studying lately, reading a lot of books. But soon it's going to warm up and I have to get back to work. I'm definitely going to have to pay the bills and finish up with these massive woodworking projects that are going on, and get back to working on the house as well, and such and so forth. But I will absolutely try to keep my intellect sharp. I am lately back into my yoga practice and trying to exercise more and really honor this terrain right here so that I can better live a more full life and also be able to share more effectively. So thank you for watching this morning, friends, or this evening, whatever time it is for you. I'm going to read this, like I say, we're going to read some essays out of this book. And I'll tell you right now, I'll try not to tear up when I read them because this work touches my heart. This woman, wow. And something I want to say about her work is that really impresses me is the way that she speaks conclusively. She doesn't throw out a lot of open-ended questions. She doesn't shy away from stating her opinion and giving some prescriptions for a more holistic future. So it's impressive to me. It really is. And like I say, we're going to go down to the river, and hopefully that'll be fun for viewers. I think it's going to be fun for me, and it's going to be a healing experience in a way, just to honor this material in such a way, because it is well worth it. I've read her other books, or at least most of them, but this one, the essays, the first couple in particular, extremely powerful. This morning I'm just going to read a little couple paragraphs here under the title of The New Organicist Science that she is asking for. And again, Mei Wan Ho didn't mince words. She was very adamant that the old mechanistic paradigm, and we could call it Darwinism. Now, I've come to terms with this. Before I read this passage, I'll actually speak to this for just a second, which is that Darwin himself was a Lamarckian. That's a quote from Lynn Margulis. And we could see that, but sometimes with individuals and great thinkers from the past, the true nature of their work may have gotten muddled by the society's interpretation of these things. And really, neo-Darwinism did kind of take over Darwinian thought. So neo-Darwinism is most certainly not Lamarckian. Neo-Darwinism is genetic determinism. It is the basis of the germ theory of disease. It is the basis of looking at living organisms like they're machines. And I don't think Darwin actually spoke about that stuff. But nonetheless, it kind of is the modern interpretation of Darwinism. And many people have also taken issue with Darwin, and because, of course, they believe in... Excuse me for that. Hopefully that doesn't totally ruin the video, because that's loud, puppy. Hey. So, and I just kind of lost exactly where I was there, but neo-Darwinism, the mechanistic nature of thinking, the germ theory paradigm, all of this stuff, looking at organisms like they're machines, that stuff, I think it is dead. It didn't go anywhere. It didn't work out for anyone except pharmaceutical companies that wanted to sell products and such, and agrochemical corporations that wanted to sell and do sell their poisons all over the world. So, and I was saying that of course many people take issue with Darwin because they believe in creation. And one of the things about forging ahead, I've been saying for well over a year now that I myself am a strict believer in the third way that's not creation, it's not intelligent design, and it's not evolution or neo-Darwinism particularly. Well, what is it? And I think now I'm very comfortable myself in using a new term, which is intelligent evolution, which is obviously just a combination of intelligent design and evolution. Intelligent evolution. And I hope that within that we can honor creation stories, and we can also honor the nature of scientific exploration and our buildup of knowledge around how these things work, and that these can come together. And that though Darwin may have been a Lamarckian, I think that it will be helpful to state a break, to break away from that point in the past and to declare what it is that we do want. Because any future that we want to work towards, it's not going to be successfully achieved by focusing on what we don't want. It's not going to be, no good revolution was ever born out of being anti anything. It's all about defining what it is that we do want and what we do believe in. So I'm all about making a hard break. Thanks for listening, everyone. I'm going to read this passage now. I'm going to probably leave it with that for today. May Wan Ho. I don't remember off the top of my head her birthday or the date that she passed away. I need to write it in the cover of this book. But she did pass away, I think, around 2017. Bless her heart. I am making a case for a new organicist science. It is not yet a conscious movement, but a zeitgeist I personally embrace. Let's have a little sip of coffee first. So I really mean to persuade you to do likewise by giving it a more tangible shape. The new organicist science, like the old, is dedicated to the knowledge of the organic whole. Hence, it does not recognize any discipline boundaries. It is found in and between all disciplines. Ultimately, it is an entire knowledge system by which one lives. There is no escape clause allowing one to plead knowledge pure or objective, and hence having nothing to do with life. Most of all, the knowing being participates in knowing as much as in living. Participation implies responsibility, which is consistent with the truism that there can be no freedom without responsibility, and conversely, no responsibility without freedom. There is no placing mind outside nature, as French mathematician philosopher René Descartes had famously done for mechanistic science. The knowing being is wholeheartedly within nature. Excuse me. The knowing being is wholeheartedly within nature. In all those, heart and mind, intellect and feeling. Let's do it a third time. The knowing being is wholeheartedly within nature, heart and mind, intellect and feeling. It is non-dualistic and holistic. In all those respects, its affinities are with the participatory knowledge systems of traditional indigenous cultures all over the world. From a thoroughgoing organicist perspective, one does not ask, what is life, but what is it to be alive? Indeed, the best way to know life is to live it fully. It must be said that we do not yet have a full-fledged organicist science, but I shall present some new snapshots of the organism, starting from the more familiar and working up, perhaps, to the most sublime, from which a live portrait of the organism as a free, spontaneous being will begin to emerge. I shall show how the organism succeeds in freeing itself from the laws of mechanistic physics, from mechanical determinism and control, thereby becoming a sentient, coherent being from that moment to moment, that from moment to moment freely explores and creates its possible futures. Okay, sorry for my mishaps there, but I hope you see the value in her work, and we will be expanding on that by exploring more of it. All right, thanks everyone for tuning in this morning. I just picked this one up and opened it up to a passage here randomly. It says love. Let's give it a shot. In honesty, it is not harder for you to say I love than I hate. You associate love with weakness and hatred with strength, and your own real power seems to you as your real weakness. For you could not control your joyous response to the call of love if you heard it. By not offering total love, you will not be healed completely. Love always answers, being unable to deny a call for help, or not to hear the cries of pain that rise to it from every part of this strange world. The opposite of love is fear, but what is all-encompassing can have no opposite. Perfect love casts out fear. If fear exists, then there is not perfect love. Whenever you are not wholly joyous, it is because you have reacted with a lack of love. You have so little faith in yourself because you are unwilling to accept the fact that perfect love is in you. And so you seek without for what you cannot find without. Everyone seeks for love as you do, but knows it not unless he joins with you in seeking it. The attraction of love for love remains irresistible, for it is the function of love to unite all things unto itself and to hold all things together by extending its wholeness. As you release, so you will be released. Forget this not, or love will be unable to find you and comfort you. Love's arms are open to receive you and give you peace forever. Love wishes to be known, completely understood and shared. It has no secrets, nothing that it would keep apart and hide. Love does not seek for power, but for relationships. Truth does not struggle against ignorance, and love does not attack fear. Love can have no enemy. Be not afraid of love, for it alone can heal all sorrow. Fail not in your function of loving in a loveless place, made out of darkness and deceit, for thus are darkness and deceit undone. The holiest of all the spots on earth is where an ancient hatred is become a present love. Love cannot be far behind a grateful heart and a thankful mind. There is no room in us for fear today. There is no room for us in fear today, for we have welcomed love into our hearts. We are deceived no longer. Love has now returned to our awareness, and we are at peace again. For fear has gone, and only love remains. Love holds no grievances. When I let all my grievances go, I will know I am perfectly safe. Thanks for listening. I hope you all have a good day.